Alright, hello everybody. As you might have seen, I am recording this using OBS. Why did my music just suddenly stop? I've had this issue before. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, regardless, I've decided to bring back the KSP series. I'm just going to assume that it stopped playing music, so let's go on. No, we're not going to be going to my sandbox world that I named after a rocket we'll probably see later in the series. Alright, so let's start a new world. It's gonna be science, of course. I'm not actually sure. I kind of like career mode. I've been watching Scott Manley play. I've been watching Scott Manley play career mode, but irregardless. So I think I'll call this, quite fittingly, YouTube. Isn't that amazing? Alright, what should I have for my flag? Kinda like this. What's this? UK Space Agency. Didn't actually know the UK had a space agency. You learn something new every day. This one here must be if the hippies go to space. Oh, I kind of like the satellite one. I think we'll go with that. Alright, so we're going to accept that. Difficulty options. I'm going to click custom. And I'm going to set re-entry heating to 70. That I already decided beforehand. Science bonuses up to 1000%. So, like, am I going to finish the game in one launch there or something? Well, now I can't get back. Alright, there, 100%. I'm not going to mess with science rewards. Alright, so we're going to accept that then. Alright, so let's start. There should be music here, so if that's not working, I think I'm having some issues. Oh, not responding. It's certainly not an issue. Alright, yeah, now I'm getting sound. Alright, so TAC has something to say. I'm just going to agree to all that by Xing out. It's really quiet on my side, probably because my heater is going. That's enormously loud. Alright, so let's get started here. So that's the astronaut complex, the administration building. I've never known what that was for. Alright, so like always, I get rid of beginning people, because I kind of like to give other astronauts a chance. Alright, so I want 2 pilots. I think this guy's probably pretty good, except he's not that courageous. I think he's not that dumb either. And Sonny Kerman. Or Gussum Kerman. Well, Gussum is kind of dumb, so I don't think I'll take him. This guy's kind of in the middle. Well, this girl is kind of in the middle. Actually, that's almost exactly like Jebediah Kerman, so I'm definitely taking her. Alright, and then we've got... no, she's not that smart. Actually, I don't have that much of a choice for the other engineers, so I need only one engineer. I need 4 Kerbonauts. I think I'm going to take Tanami Kerman. Or actually, Enzi Kerman is much better. Alright, let's do that then. Let's fly our first craft. Let's see, it's 3:21 about now. I'm going to finish the episode off at 3:40. Alright, so we only have the supplies for one small rocket. Let's call this Orbit 1, as the tradition goes. Then why don't we put some fins on here? Of course, a parachute might come in handy. Because when doesn't a parachute come in handy? Except for in space, of course. And we're gonna have 2 mystery containers. And this reminds me so much of a fireworks rocket. So let's get on with this. Well, first we gotta pick out the crew member. Alright, so who should fly these missions? The orbit missions. I kind of want Abumi Herman to be the first one to go to the Mun. So I think that's going to be an entirely different mission series, and I always change who's running the missions. So I think I'll start with Sunny Kerman. Nope, we don't want to be there. Just admiring the rocket. Alright, so let's launch. Oh, before we do that, though, we might want to arrange this. The staging, so that so that we don't spin out of control is what I'm trying to get at. Alright, engineers report. The only issue is it has unused monopropellant resource. How can I close that? Okay, that's just weird. So the reason why I change who's doing each mission is because I want every one of my Kerbonauts to get some experience. So we're going to turn on SAS, and then blast off. Although we might have wanted to observe the mystery Buddha. Right? We can always do it. The goo jiggles and wobbles as it rapidly glides. Do a crew report. The shores look inviting, and you watch the waves roll into the coast. Keep that data. You look very scared. I don't actually think we can do an EVA right now. I think we're going too fast. And then she realizes that she's going to fall down pretty soon. Why did it just suddenly get dark for her? I don't know if I just imagined it, but it looked like that just got darker in there. Alright, we're going to time accelerate a little bit. Okay, that cannot be good. So, I'm going to launch the parachute. Or rather, deploy the parachute. This thing is coming down pretty fast. And this still didn't right itself. There, now it righted itself. I'd almost worried that we're going to hit that tower over there. I'm not exactly sure what would be stored in that tower. I would take a guess that maybe monopropellant in that tank. Maybe oxidizer there, I'm not sure. But then it wouldn't make much sense to put hydrogen clear up in the air. Alright, so let's take a goo sample. The goo doesn't seem to be doing much right now. Keep that data. Let's go for an EVA. EVA report. This is a most precarious situation. And let's see if we can take a surface sample. Or get up. Okay then. Looks like I'll just have to take a surface sample then. The surface is charred and coated with burnt rocket propellant. There's also trace amounts of a conspicuous green substance. Alright then. Let's take this data home then. Cover vessel. We got a lot of data from that. To cover the ship, we got an extraordinary amount of data from that. Research that. Why didn't you research? Research that. Then what should we get next after that? That can't be right. Let's try leaving and coming back then. Should we go for general rocketry? Which would give us the liquid fueled better liquid fueled engine. I think we just got one with a basic rocketry. It would also give us better fuel tanks. Actually, did we get heat shields yet? No, we didn't. Where did we get heat shields? I'm thinking of survivability, but it's not showing it there. These heat shields are going to be essential for going pretty much anywhere else. Actually, I know what I could do. Is I could build a little science pod, which will go out to the runway over there, and since it's a different biome, I can collect science from there. So did it add? Yeah, it did. Apparently it just didn't show it. Alright. So you've got our pod right here. Actually, I think I might run this video a bit longer than that. Well, than what I said earlier. Let's see, is that all we have for science? I guess so. I'm not even going to save this since I'm not really going to use it that often. Alright, so let's launch. I didn't even say who was in it. Whoever it was, it probably doesn't matter that much. Of course, it's Abami, or however you say that. Observe the mystery goo. The goo seems to behave very much as it always does around here. Observe materials bay. The materials show little signs of change, though one of the samples appears to be judging you silently. Good to know. Crew report. Reporting in at the runway. Good thing is, there's not a lot of air traffic because I don't think we ever got clearance from the tower to be here. Alright, now do EVA. EVA report. This is I guess we can't actually do that. Space. Take an EVA report. I don't think a spacesuit was entirely necessary to get here, was it? Take a surface sample. The surface appears to be very hard, like concrete. It might actually be concrete. Could be a very good surface to land at, which we'll get to later in the series, of course. Board. Alright, that's kind of a weird graphics thing there. Alright, so let's recover that vessel. We are getting a lot of science here. So what was I going to get? General rocketry. So let's research that. And this isn't that far off either. Which is going to be very important to get these radial decouplers, which will allow us to build bigger and better rockets. So we are going to have the Orbit 2 rocket. This one is going to be much bigger and better than the Orbit 1 rocket. I think I'll put the swivel engine, and then I'm going to put the decoupler, and it might be a good idea to, first of all, make this able to decouple, and also put a heat shield on it, just in case. So, you know, rockets that leave the atmosphere have the tendency to explode. I also would think I might put a science lab on, but we don't want to make this too heavy, do we now? And now we have two mystery goo units. Now we need none of that junk. We've got this parachute. And we can even put landing legs on. Only if we move this up to here. Beginning of Age of Innovation. Alright, so we start with this, with that, this, detach first, and then parachute. Alright. See? Let's put Sunny Kermit in. Save. Launch. So this is the first time I've used OBS. But I have noticed it does have its problems. Alright, so SAS and launch. And I forgot to take a Kerbal again. Brilliant. Well, let's take one when we're higher up in the atmosphere. Attach. Fire. This looks like it's going to burn for a really long time. I wonder if by using those radial decouplers, if I could actually be able to get a rocket that goes up into orbit after this by putting some boosters to the sides of the rocket. Let's see, what's the map like? We have barely used any fuel yet. I'm going to observe a mystery here. The goose seems to be getting very cold now. Not quite to space yet. There's a very weird noise coming from outside right now. No, we don't actually want to go that way. We want to go this way if we're going to orbit. Or change our trajectory, because landing in the ocean isn't always the easiest thing. Alright, so then I'm going to click retrograde for it to get to the right position. I'm going to get rid of that. Then I'm going to stability assist after that. Oh, and before we forget, science. The microgravity has greatly affected the growth of crystalline structures. Loose objects are also flying around the bay in a very messy but fascinating way. Crew report. It seems that we're very much in space right now. The sky seems to be mostly below us. Mr. Goo? The goo seems to have clumped into a sphere. It also appears to have become brittle. Alright, now you're going to do an EVA. EVA report. You've recorded your observations about the situation. Alright, now you're going to board. Now we're going to time accelerate. Now we are falling back through the atmosphere. Rather quickly, though. That kind of concerns me. Fortunately, we're not going back through the atmosphere as fast as some of my moon rockets did. Those just went insanely fast back down through the atmosphere. Alright, we're beginning to burn up here. How's the ablator holding out? We're slowing down now. Gear is going out. Parachute destroyed. Slowing down, but not fast enough, unfortunately. So, goodbye. Or I could just revert the flight. Alright, now you're kind of just squirming on the ground. That was a very close call. But in the future, I think we might be a bit more careful with our parachutes. And you are beaming about this. So you're super scared during launch, but once you finally hit the ground, literally, you're extremely happy. Okay, we're going to recover you then. Maybe you bumped your head on your way to the ground. See, what did we recover as of science from that? Nothing at all. Alright, then I'm going to run that mission again. Just with a minor detail is going to be changed on this. Why is it taking so long to go in here? How am I going to do this here? Alright, that would work. And then I'm going to put a parachute. Two of them, radial parachutes, here. Those things are huge. Those are gigantic parachutes. Or I might just use the landing legs then and put them down here. Unfortunately, I don't think I can record much longer than this. So let's... I think I could probably launch it. Alright, let's save and launch then. Alright, so SAS and, well, SAS, since it didn't want to do that the first time. And let's launch. Yep, it's actually recording. It's actually recorded a video once, and it didn't even begin to record. This is actually technically the second time I've tried recording this series. This is a beautiful racket, to be honest. I think before I deploy my parachutes, I'm going to see if it's safe or not. This time I think we're going to go towards the ocean, but what? Or maybe point more towards that direction, I'm not sure. So let's see, what do we have around us? Mountains, mountains, mountains. A little bit of clear land over there. But mainly mountains. Alright, now we're going at speeds where it's risky to deploy. Nope, we're not going to do a cool report right now. I'm going to observe the mystery goo. The goo seems to be getting very cold right now. Why am I going over there? I want to be over here. So zoom in and see what's going on. Now we want to pull up a little bit. Make our apoaps go up. And out of the atmosphere, so to speak, to eject that stage. Time accelerate a little bit. There, we're now in space. Well, not really yet. Alright, so we are now in space. Crew report. It seems we are very much in space right now. The sky seems to be mostly below us. Mystery goo. The goo seems to have clumped into a sphere. It also appears to have become brittle. Observe materials. The microgravity has greatly affected the growth of crystalline structures. Loose objects are also flying around the bay in a very messy but fascinating way. I need to quickly get her out. Collect data, EVA report. You have recorded your observations about the situation. I've got to get her in now before she flies off the rocket. And there, we did it. Now that we're going down, I'm going to point at the retrograde. That is really, really strange. Alright, we're beginning to heat up here. Look like a big fireball. Watch as the rocket's energy is converted into heat energy. It's unsafe to deploy chutes. I'm going to be watching that very carefully. See when it is safe to deploy the parachutes. Assuming it refreshes. It's risky now. Safe. You know, I kind of like this lander, to be honest. Alright, so we've got all the data coming back to us now. We haven't even deployed the chutes yet. These have deployed. We're going extremely slow. Almost go 4 times time acceleration. It's going to take forever for this thing to go down. We're at maximum time acceleration here. Alright, so we're almost on the ground now. This kind of reminds me of a hot air balloon. We're not going to wait all day for that, since I do need to wrap up this episode in like 5 minutes. Because it's now 4 o'clock. Alright, and we're about to land. And we have landed. Let's recover the vessel. $77 science we just earned there. Oh my goodness, that is the holy grail of science. Alright, next thing on our list of things. Do we want to go for aviation first, or do we want to go to the moon? We went an incredible distance in one episode here. I think I'm going to go with aviation, because it's much simpler, and there's a lot of science that needs to be gotten before we can go to the moon. Alright, so let's research that, but we have to wrap the episode right now, so that's going to be something for another time. So don't forget to subscribe, but until then, I'm BobSpot2, signing off.